Welcome, and I'd like to thank you for tuning in. My name is Nicholas Davenport, some call me Nick D or Mr. Mental Muscle, and I'm a performance psychology consultant, and I deal with helping people perform better. And we're here for Performance Psych for Life. Now, what is performance psychology? Basically, it deals with the mental aspect of performing. Now, what is a performance? Now, performance is just not limited to being on a stage in a play, a music performance, or even a sport. Performance is everything. It could be taking a test, giving a public speech, a business meeting, a relationship, anything. And we need to be at our best abilities. And my job is to help people perform at their best physically and mentally, to bring it all together to do their best when it counts the most. Now, how can this help you in your everyday life? I'm glad you asked, because we're going to show you. And today's episode is going to be about how to override your mind. Check it out. Now, what do I mean by override your mind? Now, when you think of your brain, it's like a supercomputer mainframe that runs your entire body. It dictates the actions you do, the thoughts you think. So without it, your body would just be this vessel of nothingness. Now, back in the ancient times, we thought that the heart was essential to the body. And though the heart is very important and is needed and is one of the strongest muscles, the brain is what makes the show go. So you can think of the body as the employers and the brain as the supervisor. And as I stated, the brain is a very important and powerful tool, and it's there to protect us. It's the one to keep us in order, allow the show to run perfectly and smoothly as possible. But this could be a bad thing as well, because in its protectiveness, it can limit us. Now, these when doubts come in. For example, if you have a tough test coming up and you need to study, you might be overwhelmed with anxiety, thinking that maybe I won't do well, or maybe I don't have what it takes to do it, and you may give up, or it may hinder your results and you might do poorly. And that's the thing, our brain is there to help us, not to hurt us. Now, the thing about fear and anxiety is it's not in the present. It doesn't exist. It's not real. Take it. Okay, now fear and anxiety does exist. But typically when it's in the present moment, when there's an imminent danger such as getting robbed or a plane going down to crash, that fear is real. But outside of that, we create fears and doubts in our minds. This means that if something is scaring us or making us nervous, it's from us. Now, there's nothing wrong with this. Fear is needed. There's a certain level of anxiety and fear that can get you aroused for the moment. But the thing is, we often let this bring us down. But it's up to us to override that fear. Now, this is when we have to hack our brains and make it happen. Now, before I get any deeper to anything else, I want you to know that our powers as humans is tremendous. We have the capabilities to do amazing things, not only mentally, but physically too. For example, have you ever seen when someone gets electrocuted like on a movie and they get blown away far back, right? You would think it's electrocution, electricity that's doing that, right? But it's actually that our body, when our muscles contract, it sends electric signals throughout our body to cause our muscles to move, punch, walk, stand, sit, whatever. So when all that electricity flows through our body at that one time, all our muscles contract together and it causes us to blow 20, 40, 50 feet away. That's how much power is inside of us. Now, this is where we come back when I said the brain is to protect us, right? Our brain regulates everything. It doesn't allow us to use that much force all the time. You know why? Because we just couldn't handle it. Eventually it would take a toll and we would die. So our brain protects us by regulating how much energy, how much effort we give. But this is also a bad thing. Think of it as an overprotective mother. Your mother knows what's best, right? But sometimes she can be overbearing and not want you to go out or do certain things because she's afraid of the dangers. But we all know there's an inherent risk in everything we do. But when we have to override that function, we can push ourselves to new limits. For example, in my work being a trainer and training my clients physically, I often have people who doubt what they can do because the weight might get heavier or it might get a little strenuous. But the thing is, that's your brain saying, the stress on my body is doing too much. We need to ease it down. But sometimes we are able to do more. And we know this. But since we want to listen to what our brain is telling us, we believe it and we stop. And guess what? How can we get better if we don't try? Like I always like to say, the only way to lose is to fail to try. So if you don't push yourself that little bit extra uncomfortable space forward, how can you truly be successful? Now, this is not to say just put an unbearable amount of stress on your body or on your mind to get things done. This means when you get to that point where it's hurting, when it feels the hardest, whether it's working out, lifting weights, or where it's in the book studying, or whether it's working at a job and you need to get a promotion, It means you gotta go that little extra more, even though it doesn't feel like you should, because that's where the change is going to occur. We gotta tell ourselves, we gotta override what our brain is saying, stop, stop, stop. We gotta say go. Think about it. Now let's use an example. If I'm doing push-ups and I tell myself in my head I don't feel I'm capable of doing it, I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do a push-up, 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 I can't do a push-up. Guess what? I just did one. I did several actually. I just proved myself wrong. And that's as easy as it can be. You gotta take that chance and try to prove yourself wrong. Now that's just one example of how we can get better at overriding this thing in our brain that tells us we can't. Now you can do it with any kind of situation, not just physical, you can do it with the mental. Prove yourself wrong, and I don't mean that as a bad thing. Prove yourself that you can, because it's easy to prove to ourselves that we can't. It's simple, just don't, right? Sorry about all the contractions, but that's how we work on can'ts, don'ts, and won'ts and wills. Make it a will, because when there's a will, there's a way. Now, when I say override your brain, I don't mean this is going to be an overnight process and it's just going to happen like that. Basically, it's like anything in life. You got to practice to get better at it. So that means you got to constantly put yourself in positions where there's extra stress to cause you have to work a little bit harder. And it's not going to happen once, twice, 3 times. You got to repetitively do it. And then eventually you'll get more comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that way, when it comes time to do it, it's like you've been there before. You're going to be confident. You're going to be more motivated. Now, a few things before we go I want to leave you guys with is, remember, fear and anxiety is not real in the present unless there's a real danger right in front of you. Other than that, it's inside of us. And we got to choose to take it as a threat or a challenge and go ahead with it, even though we're scared. Also, we got to be able to tell ourselves if we can't, that we got to try. Because if we don't try, we'll never know if we'll be able to do it. And lastly, remember, you have the power. We are capable to do a lot of things. Look at all the technology around us. Look at all the athletes accomplish things they do. All I gotta say is do it. Do it. Now this concludes our first episode of Performance Psych for Life. Now I'll be doing one every week. Now if you have a topic that you want me to touch, comment below and let me know. That way I'll be able to try to touch everyone's topics the best I can. So once again, thank you. It's Nick D, aka Mr. Mental Muscle. And remember, strong bodies, stronger mind.